everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 143 of Build Your Stash and Craft. Today we are going to play with buttons a little bit and we are going to make one of these button dangles. Whoops, it just came apart because I didn't have my jump rings closed good enough. Well, I didn't have them closed good enough, then I can't get them open far enough. There we go. So this is what we're going to do today. Easy enough, but we're going to do it by making our own jump rings. And then also we're going to make this cute little charm guy, which has a little jump ring on the back so you can hang him on something. So isn't he cute? And I saw these on Pinterest. This is not my idea, but this is what we are going to do today. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to go through our buttons and figure out what buttons we would like to make. Now I made one that was kind of like orange and red. So maybe I can find some buttons like in blues and purples and greens. That would be pretty. Probably not too many because those are my favorite colors. And so I've probably used most of them. But let's see what we can do. We need a little bit of a bigger one. This one's really fat, so he would not work great. We can try him at the top and see how he works. Maybe just one more little tiny one. Let's go with this one for the bottom. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that looks pretty good, unless I can find a better big button to use. And you gotta set them out to where you like the way that they look. Okay, so we'll just, I like that one, but I don't know that I want to take the place of anything else. Nope. All right. We're going to go like that. If he doesn't work, we'll keep that purple one out just in case. Well, that was smart for me really to dump them all over the table. But now that I have my nice bigger table, I can scooch those over to the side. Get them out of my way. Oh, I really like this green one though. This is really pretty. Let's see. I like that. And then if we put a green one right there. Let's see. Okay, let's try it that way. And now we don't need that one, I don't think. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make our own jump rings. And the way to do that is I have a pen here and I have my bead roller. And I don't have my bead roller to use it as a bead roller. But I like the diameter of this cotter key for my smaller jump rings. And it was just something that I found that I thought would be just the right size. So I'm just going to take some wire. And there's no certain amount. It just depends on how many jump rings you want to make. And we're going to put large jump rings on each button and then a small jump ring between. So we'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 large jump rings. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 small ones, 5 small ones. So that's how many we need at least. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your wire and you're just going to wrap it around your pen right next to each other as best as possible. You're going to want to have a tail on there so you can hold that tail and then just wrap it. Wrap it nice and tight, because if you wrap it nice and tight, it gives you a really nice circle. Takes any kinks out of your wire. And then once you get it all wrapped, then what you're going to do is you're going to take it and just kind of twist it together as you squeeze it towards the middle. So twist it and squeeze it to make like a spring. and then you're just going to slide it off by pulling it from the top end and pulling it this way. Don't pull it from the bottom end or you'll just uncoil it. Since I have a longer tail on this end, I'm going to hang on to that tail. Just gives me something to hang on to. I'm going to find my tail here, which there is hardly nothing left, and I'm just going to snip on where I'm at, where there's no flat part, where, you know, the tail goes out straight. So I just snipped it next to where it really started to be round. Now, I have my little cut right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little pliers. You can only do it one ring at a time. I'm going to go push my flat part of my pliers right up against the part of the wire where I just cut, and I'm going to nip the next ring. And then that gives me a jump ring with the little slit right there, and then you never pull a jump ring apart. Whenever you open a jump ring, you always open it just pushing both sides away from each other, and then when you close it, you pull it right back to itself. And that's how you open a jump ring. Never, if you pull it apart, you will never get it back. And that's whether you're making your own or whether they're jump rings from the store. You'll never get it back to the right shape if you open it by pulling it apart. Okay, now I need to find the end of my little, okay, here's the end of my wire here. So I'm just going to go right next to that. I'm going to push the flat part of my wires up against it. And there we go. And then you just keep doing that until you get all the way to the end of your spring. And you're going to, when you push that up there, and then when you nip, you're going to kind of angle it towards the way that your little wire that you're pushing up against, you're going to angle it kind of towards that. You're going to push up against it, give it just a touch of an angle. And what that does is that makes those, if you were to go the other way, they'd have a space in them. You don't want a gap. So just push up against the wire, angle it just a little bit towards that wire. I'm going to hang on to it here so I can get these last few. Well, it would have helped if I had put my glasses on, which we'll see how well I can do once I start trying to put these together. May not be able to see them. And usually I have my glasses on top of my head, but I took them off. Okay, now when you get to the last one, if you don't have a real circle, and I don't, the circle comes to about here, my wire's over here, and then it starts to curve out. You don't want that one. I know you think, well, that's kind of wasteful, but it's not wasteful if it's not going to work for you. So, okay, we definitely have 8 large ones, so we're just going to put those right there. And now we're going to make a smaller size. And now your own wire jump rings are not quite, it depends on how strong your wire is for one thing. They're not quite as strong as the ones you get at the store, but they are pretty good, because even the ones you get at the store, if they are just jump rings like this that just come together and meet, they're not that strong. The strongest jump rings are like, they look like a key ring. It's like 2 rings. They're very hard to use. But they are much stronger. So if I'm going to like do something that I'm going to hang on my purse, that's going to be banged around a lot, then I usually use the ones that look like a keychain and fight with it till I get it on. But then I know once it's on there, it's going to stay on there really well. Okay, so I've got this little tail sticking out here. I'm going to go back to where my wire is actually starting to round. I'm going to pull this out just a little bit because I got it really tight to each other. Okay, going to go, it's about round right there. And now I'm going, this is the flat part because now my wire is over here. And you can only cut one wire at a time, so if they're too close, you have to separate them just a little bit. You don't want too much, just enough to get your point on there and give it a little snip. And again, push your flat part of your little nippers right up against the wire. Give it just a little bit of an angle. And we're almost done right here. Whoops. And I will get a last one out of this one. And then here's what I have left. So, okay. So now we've got big jump rings and we've got little jump rings. And now all we have to do is put them together. So the way that you're going to do it is you're going to take your jump rings, and like I said, with the big ones I usually just do it by hand because I can, but with the little tiny ones I have to hold it with pliers because I can't get a hold of it. So you're going to put a large jump ring, and these are 4 hole buttons until you get to the bottom. At the bottom, if you like a 2-hole button, that works just fine. And actually, really, it doesn't really matter. I guess really it's more aesthetics. So we are going to put a large jump ring in the bottom and top hole. I guess I don't have to do all tops and then all bottoms. We'll put a large jump ring in the bottom and the top hole of each of the 4 buttons. And then once we get that done, then we'll hook them together with our little jump rings. And you can make these as long or as short as you want. You could just do like 2 or 3 buttons if you wanted to. I hung a charm on the bottom of mine, and that charm is just off of a charm bracelet that I got at a secondhand store. And then I just tore it apart. And that is a really good thing. I was going to show you, I just picked up some 3 necklaces from our secondhand store, and they were in a plastic baggie for $1, and that was a really good deal. Now on the bottom one, if I could fit just a little one, I might want to try that, but I don't know. The thing is, you got a lot of gap, you know, between the hole of the button and the edge of the button. Oh wait, I can, whoops, I forgot. We're going to put the jump ring on, and now I really need my pliers. I can use a small one, because this would be just like one of the big ones. It would just be a jump ring, and then it will be connected with a small jump ring. Okay, and this one is not. I'll squish that together a little bit. And then what you can do is, if you're having a hard time with your splits, because if 2 splits line up, they will, like one of those wire puzzles, they'll come apart. You can always touch a little bit of your super glue from the dollar store, put it on a pin and stick it in there, and then put the part of your jump ring that's split open right there and just kind of glue it to that spot, because the jump ring between the 2 jump rings will still make them dangle, so it won't make them too stiff. I'll put one on this little bottom one. And then if I was going to hang a charm, which I don't have another charm right now, so if I was going to hang a charm on the bottom of this, I would put one on the top and the bottom. But I'm just going to put one on the top because I don't have another charm. And then we're going to take the small jump rings, and we'll put one at the top, and that one you can put like a necklace connector on. You know, like a, what do they call them? Like a lobster clasp from a necklace that you've torn apart. And that was the one thing, that's why I was going to show you those necklaces. Don't just go out and spend a whole bunch of money on a necklace, because you can go to, you know, Walmart. When you go to Walmart and you check, okay, this is our top one and this is the front. So it's going to hang like that. This button does have a front because it has writing on it. So I want to make sure that the front is facing towards the front when I put them together. But yeah, go see how much findings are at Walmart. like the little Oyster clasps, and you know, it comes with like a little packet of all of those like jump rings. And you know, before you buy a necklace for one clasp, you know, so that you kind of know what the cost of everything is. And like I said, I got a bag with 3 necklaces in it, which had a lot of beads. And I need to find my front. My front's over there. And the front of this button is here. Okay, so I have to do it like that. Yeah, because sometimes if you buy one necklace for $1, it's not necessarily that good of a deal to get one lobster clasp and a couple of jump rings and, you know, and some beads for that $1. It might be a good deal if you really love the beads and you know you're going to use them. But some necklaces have like bead caps and stuff in them. And so, you know, you take all that into account before you buy a used necklace for crafting. But usually, so long as you're going to use the beads, it usually, and this does not really have a front or a back, so I don't have to worry about that one. Usually, it is a good deal because you get all of the beads on it. But if it's really short or, you know, so just think about what you're going to use it for before you spend too much for one, and try and find it in packages. And if you have a secondhand store, ask them if they get any broken jewelry, what do they do with it? Because if they throw it away, tell them, you know, like if they'll just throw it all in a plastic baggie or something, maybe they could give it to you, or tell them you'll give them $1 for it. If, you know, when they fill up the baggie, the next time you go in, you just pick it up. Because a lot of times if they think it's broken or it's all knotted up, they'll just throw it away. So just tell them, you know, you'll give them $1 if they'll save it for you. So there we go. There is it's all hooked together. It looks really cute. You don't have to have a charm on the bottom for it to look cute. And now we'll do this little guy. So with that one, we need a bigger button. We need a button that's big enough to hold our googly eyes. And so I'm going to grab 2 of my smallest googly eyes that we got here earlier in the year. And then you want a big button with 4 holes. Now this button really, well, it doesn't really have to have 4 holes either. You need 1 hole at the top for your charm, and you need 1 hole at the bottom for your little mouth. Now we'll see if this button has got a lot of space between the hole and the top of the button. So we're going to have to see how well this jump ring fits, if it actually fits, or if I don't have enough room. And I just can't quite. Now I could bend this all up to get it on there, but I don't want to do that. It's not going to fit. There's too much of a gap. So let's find another one that doesn't have such a big gap. How about this one? I don't need the pliers for the really big ones. And again, I just opened this up quite wide, but again, just against itself, not by pulling it apart. Alrighty. And that is going to fit on there. So now you're just going to bring them back together until they meet. And then I usually like to turn that part to the whole side, although it really doesn't matter because they move around. And then we're going to put a little jump ring at the top. And that way we could put a little lobster claw on that when we get one. So there, and I put my jump ring in first, because otherwise, if you put the eyes in, they might get in the way. And then you're going to take, really it's best to use like your super glue for this one. And this is the one we got at the Dollar Tree. It's Fix It All, or Fix All adhesive. This works really well. To me, it's comparative to like E6000 or something like that. You know, it's a very strong, it's a stinky glue, but it's the kind of glue that you use when you really want something to stick. Just put a little bit on the back of our eye. and just push it up against that jump ring, making sure that the hole on the bottom can be seen, because that makes him look like he's got a little mouth, like a singing choir at Christmas time. You could make a little choir of these guys, put some little music notes up above them, and they could be singing Christmas music. Now that we've got that there, I'm going to just push them down good. And I'm going to kind of try and push them towards each other in the centers to kind of cover up the other two holes. So actually, if you used a 2-hole button, that would work really well, because then you'd have the hole at the top and the hole at the bottom, and you wouldn't have to worry about the ones on each side. And I have glue all over here, and because it's this type of glue, I need to get it off. Some of your other glues, it's easiest to just let them dry first and then roll it off. But the super glues, once they're dry, they don't like to come off. And there we go. I got a little bit too much glue behind his eyes, but he's cute. He's got his little singing mouth. And I just think that they're just darling. And you can get all different kind of eyes. These are some other eyes that I had when I was testing it out. And, you know, they're just really cute. They kind of look like he's half asleep. So you can get all kinds of googly eyes out there. But I just think they're cute. You could put some little hair on top of him or whatever. And, you could even not put the little jump ring on there at all and put a paper clip on the back of him. That would be a really cute idea. I think I'm going to do that. I never thought of that. But yeah, you don't need any jump rings at all. Just cover up those top holes and glue a paper clip to the back, and then he could clip onto anything that you would like him to. So there we go. There are our bead dangles, and we got our little critters here. I don't know what to call them. They just make me happy. So, and that's it. That's how easy it is. Okay, for next week. I know what we're doing next week, but I don't know what I'm going to use for containers. So I'm going to come back in just a second. I'm going to show you what we need and discuss containers with you. And then you might want to just wait until you see kind of how everything's falling together to decide what kind of container you want. But I'll be back in just a second and we'll go over that. Okay, I am back and I've made my mind up. So what we're going to need for next week is a new bottle of hand sanitizer, unless you have quite a bit left, and you want clear hand sanitizer. And this is from the Dollar Tree, and this is Kraft Kids Washable Paint. This is not the same as acrylic paint or tempera paint. This is Kids Washable. It's Crayola Washable Kids Paint, and it comes from the Dollar Tree, just plain white. A piece of felt, white preferably, and a drying mat from the Dollar Tree. Now this is a mat that has a little bit of terry on each side, and then inside of here is just a small thin foam inside. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this was 25 cents. We've saved 25 cents here and there before, where we've spent 50 or whatever, and I called it $1, so we're not going to even count that. So we're going to spend $5 for next week. This is what we'll need. My going back and forth was I wasn't sure if I wanted something like these containers, and again, these are Loctite containers. You need the kind that lock. Take the package off this. You need the kind that lock and have a nice, they really need to have a nice seal. So these ones from the Dollar Tree, they have the little lock on them, and then they also have a rubber seal inside with a nice little space here to put our foam pads. So they'll wind up closing like this. But this is what we're going to need for next week. We'll get 2 packages so that we have 6. We'll need our gel food coloring, and So, oh, and I was going to show you that my debate was whether I would use those or whether we would use these Loctite containers that really, you know, they really lock, because we don't want this to dry out. But I think that these are going to be just as good and probably will work better. So we'll get 6 of those, 2 packs of 3, and hand sanitizer, white, again, that's white washable kids paint, Crayola washable kids paint. This is very important for next week. So that's what we're going to need, and I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I did go ahead and try the paper clip because I just had to. So here's the one that we did, and our little guy here that we did, and the extras. And then here's our little paper clip dude. And I just think he turned out cute. I just glued it to the back and put a little feather headdress on there, and I thought he turned out really cute too. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate you stopping by, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.